So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a custom GPT that's going to take your webinar registration page and provide detailed feedback and areas of improvement based on proven high-performing webinar pages. So look, if you're a course creator, you obviously know the value and the importance of running webinars, and one of the most important parts of running a webinar is actually getting people to sign up on your registration pages. There are definitely best practices to follow. Sometimes you want to ask somebody for feedback on your page, but you don't have anyone to ask. So I've built a custom GPT that will give you feedback based on the registration pages of very popular creators in the online space. So here are the 3 steps we're really going to take to create this custom GPT. First, we need to collect examples of really good webinar registration pages and train ChatGPT on those pages and what makes up a good webinar registration page. Then we were going to ask ChatGPT, based on those examples, to create instructions for our custom GPT. And then we're going to take those examples and we're going to upload them to the custom GPT so it can have those for reference. So look, before we even really begin, we need to know what a good webinar registration page looks like. We need examples that we can feed ChatGPT. Now, depending on kind of how you go about it, or if you have examples that you prefer, you can use those. So for me, I've been in the online course business for several years now, and luckily I keep a swipe file in my Google Drive of different types of pages and emails that I come across and love. So luckily I kind of have my own swipe file here of webinars and registration pages and replay pages and all of these good things. And I'll show you some of them. And so this is what I'm going to use to train ChatGPT. But if you come across any of these in the wild, some of your favorite creators who are running webinars, just take a screenshot of it or download it as a PDF. And I encourage you keeping a swipe files folder like this. But this is what I'm going to use. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I've uploaded 4 images or screenshots of webinar registration pages. I've got 2 from Amy Porterfield, who's probably the best. I've got 1 from Jasmine Starr. I've got 1 from Boss Babe, right? And now what I'm going to do is prompt ChatGPT for a prompt, basically, right? Because remember, we're building a custom GPT that requires instructions. And so we need to create those instructions. And the best way to do that is with ChatGPT. So I have a prompt on my clipboard, okay, that I'm going to paste in and I'll explain. So ChatGPT has even revised my prompt. So it's saying you are an expert in custom GPT creation and landing page optimization with a deep understanding of user experience and conversion strategies. And I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but what I'm basically asking you to do is review the images. And then based on the elements of these webinar registration pages, to then create instructions for a custom GPT that will act as a feedback giver. All right, I know it's somewhat convoluted, but I'm trying to get instructions, custom instructions, to go into our custom GPT. And so that's what we're asking ChatGPT to do here. So it's going to analyze these 4 opt-in pages or webinar registration pages. It's going to kind of look for elements that they all contain. Okay. Then I'm giving it the context of, hey, your job is then to review a user submitted webinar registration page and then offer feedback. So it's doing a lot of things at once. It's analyzing the images. It's looking for kind of the best practices, and then it still needs to create custom GPT instructions. So it's starting here. One thing I've noticed is it hasn't really given me the kind of prompts at the beginning, but it's getting into definitely the elements here, okay? And it's going very deep, right? So layout and design, copywriting, call to action, social proof and trust elements, conversion optimizations, psychological triggers. So it's definitely building out the custom instructions. What I'm going to have to ask it is to introduce some kind of prompting at the beginning. All right, so I'm just going to come back in here and ask it to, introduce a flow at the beginning, because there's no mention of the fact that the user needs to first upload an image and then the GPT will get to work. So that's all I'm prompting right here. I'm just asking it to add some context at the top, and hopefully it will understand that. All right, so it's providing that context, that initial flow, and then it's going to give me exactly the rest of the analysis as it was before. So this will be at the very top of my GPT instructions, and then this will flow after. All right, so that part is done. Now we've got a really good draft, and you can always tweak this. For this video, I'm just going to run with it, but a really good draft of what we can now plug into our custom GPT. All right, now we can start actually building the GPT. So I'm inside of ChatGPT. Obviously, I clicked Explore GPTs. That took me to this screen. And so if you've never built one before, luckily it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to go to Create, and then make sure you're on the Configure tab. First of all, just give it a name. So we can call this Webinar Registration Feedback Bot, whatever you want to call it. I don't even care to have a description here. So the instructions are what we just prompted ChatGPT to do for us. I'm just going to copy this over that and start with the context, look it over real quick. But now we have our custom instructions set up really quickly. All right, the next thing that I've already done here off screen is I've attached those examples. Remember at the very beginning of those 4 webinar registration page examples as part of the knowledge. And then I made a note up here, right over here. So I made a note here. So the feedback that you will provide will be based on the below guidance, which is the prompt, as well as the gold standard, I misspelled standard, gold standard webinar registration page examples in the knowledge, okay? And then I turned on code interpreter and data analysis so that it would have access to those webinar registration pages for its reference, okay? And I haven't touched the instructions at all. Other than that, I did add a conversation starter here for get started, and I also added that little icon or that little emoji right there. Now, if you want to have it create a little graphic here, you can hit the plus sign and have Dolly create a little icon for your GPT. I do like to have all of mine have some kind of icon. That's just the way that I am, but it should take, a few seconds, and based on the context of the bot and what you have included there, I mean, that is probably not the best. I don't even know what that is, but let's run with it. All right. So everything is set up here, and what I'm going to do is hit create. Now, this is where you can share your permissions. You can have it for yourself. You can have it where anyone has the link, or you could put it in the GPT store. For this right now, I'm going to just put this for me, but if you do want access to this GPT, shoot me a message, or maybe I'll leave a link in the video description. So I'm going to hit save. We've given it, and now I'm going to hit view GPT, and now we can start to play around with it. All right, now that we've created our bot, we need to give it an example of a webinar page. So all I did was I went onto Twitter, literally, and searched for webinar, okay? I came across this random example. I don't know who these people are. Certainly, this is not going to be some kind of criticism. I just needed a real-life example. So here's their webinar page. And what you can do, if you're not aware, first, we need to give ChatGPT an image. I have found that giving like JPEGs are better than PDFs. So there is a Chrome extension, I'm hovering over it right now, called Go Full Page. And it is a screen capture that takes a screen capture, not just of what you see on your screen, but of the entire page. It's free. I highly recommend it. I use it all the time. That's how I get all my swipe files. So I'm going to use this to hopefully create an image of this very short page. All right, so there's the page. And there's a couple of options here, PDF or PNG. Let's go with PNG. I'm not sure how ChatGPT is going to handle that one. All right, so now I've got that PNG image downloaded to my computer. Okay, now that we have our guinea pig page, let's test this thing out. Let's see if the get started button works. All right, perfect. So it's saying, please upload an image of your registration page, and I will begin analyzing it for feedback and improvement suggestions. So I'm going to go and find that test image. All right, so this is the image of the page that we downloaded before. And I don't know, I'm just going to attach it on its own and hit enter without any prompting whatsoever. So it's registered that already, and it's going to get into it. So it starts with the layout and the design, saying the benefits of attending the webinar are not immediately clear. The most important information, like what the attendees will gain, should be highlighted more visually. And then it's, again, back to the headline saying it should be more benefit driven. It's suggesting to add a subheading, which is really good feedback. The benefits of attending are not laid out clearly. Consider adding a bullet point list of specific benefits, right? So this is, to be clear, the page. Unlock the secrets of video marketing, unlocking the secrets of video marketing, learn how to use video marketing strategies to boost your sales. So there's not a lot of text on the page, not a lot of benefits. I mean, there is some text down here, but just to kind of show what ChatGPT is seeing here, it's suggesting to add a countdown timer. The page lacks testimonials or any form of social proof. That's a really good point of feedback here. Host credentials is a little light. Actually, this is good feedback. Adding a bonus such as a downloadable is a good idea. There's room to build more authority. So here are the areas of, I thought that's a pretty good job. Areas for improvement. Make the headline and subheadings more benefit driven and add a clear list of attendee benefits. Add more CTA buttons. Emphasize urgency with phrases like limited spots. Introduce testimonials or endorsement to build credibility and trust. Add buttons for easy social sharing. So as a first pass, I think this is pretty good, a pretty good bot. You know, I thought, especially the first part about the headline not being benefit driven, there's no bullet points around benefits, was a really good call out. I think this bot can be really helpful to act as a second set of eyes for you. Once you build your webinar page, feed it into the bot. Even if it picks out one or two areas for improvement that you can make, then it's definitely worth the effort to create this. Again, if you want a copy of this specific bot, I think I'm going to leave some kind of link in the description below. All right, guys, thanks.